Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. I have been running around like a chicken with its head cut off. I had an uninterruptible project a little while ago, and suddenly I had 5 minutes to get prepped here. So happy Halloween. I know it's not quite Halloween yet, a couple more days, but here we are on the last drama of October 2022. And so we'll make this our Halloween episode. You know what? I don't need that. Kind of like to be able to see you. So we'll do that. It's a put together costume. All right. I just slammed it together because it's stuff that I had. I've got other costumes and we'll do them and use them at appropriate places and in appropriate times. Wow, how bad did I mangle this? Stand by. Today's the 28th. Goodness my gracious, what a mess. What a mess. Almost done. There we go. Save that. Put this in here. What are you doing? Goodness gracious. Okay, that's done and off my plate. Hey, everybody. Happy Friday. As ever and always, happy Pi Day Friday. Happy drama. This is drama. And I am the eponymous DR of drama. I am Dave Rush. This is Dave Rush Ask Me Anything. We get together every Friday at 2 o'clock Central Time. Right now, Central Daylight Saving Time. In just a couple of weeks, it'll be 2 o'clock Central Standard Time. It will still be 2 o'clock my time. But for many of you, let's see, we fall back. So it's going to be an hour earlier for you. I think, I don't know, you know what? I'm supposed to be smart. I can never do that math. I can barely keep track of what works for me, but that works for me. So the world's a happy place. So let's see. I know somebody, I think Andre dove in 27 hours early today. Oh, there it is. 10 minutes after the hour before the show starts. The big question, having stuffed himself with wonderful, beautiful looking ribs, is he still here or is he still sleeping that off? Hey, let me do something here. All right, had to mute for a second there. Tulwood turns up at usual time, 30 minutes before showtime. Kenny Clayton right about the same time. It was a battle for who's second and came down to microseconds. So Kenny says, good afternoon. And likewise, Kenny Clayton, good to see you back. Thank you. Andre, hello, people. I hope there will be a lot of people at the after party. Otherwise, I will have made a fool out of myself, which is nothing new. I'll have a different costume on. Got one that I've been working on. It's not done, but it's done enough from the waist up that we can do it. Thank you, Tulwood. Al Mulford. Everybody, Al Mulford is here. Al is a relative of Mike's and pops in on Mike's show every now and again, sees me work in the back channel. And as you may or may not know, Mike's niece got married last Saturday. I DJ'd with this vest and this bow tie, but not this hat and not this shirt and other things. And so I was sitting there at my little DJ station and a gent comes up, sits down in the chair beside me and says, hi, Dave. And you have me at a loss. Though I had seen him around the facility before, and he introduced himself as Al Mulford. And I finally got to meet Al Mulford and have a real face-to-face conversation with him. He's Mike's brother-in-law by marriage. And came all the way up from Rockport, Texas, where when Mike goes down there, they do a little fishing together. It's not their favorite activity by any stretch, but something they try to get out of the way. So nice. Thank you, Al. It was a pleasure to meet you and Robin. And of course, get to see all of you together with Shannon and Alex and everybody else, all the other relatives. That was a wonderful thing. A hippopotamus for Christmas. They did that. Yes, Jerry Lee Lewis is dead again. Okay, he died 3 days ago, according to whatever celebrity news outlet. And somebody must have called him and said, not dead, stop it. but apparently not doing well enough that maybe they could have left the obit in place and just updated the date for 3 days in the future. But yes, the killer, as he is known, has passed away. You shake my nerves and you rattle my brain. Thank you, Al. Likewise. Well, I hope I'm looking at the chat feed here, and I can tell by the way some of you are typing that you are in costume. So, Al, I don't think you're that's your normal typing. So you're wearing a dark blue work shirt. Kenny Clayton undoubtedly wearing white clown makeup and fangs. So there's an old story in aviation circles. Let me tell you a little bit about this. It's humorous, and I don't have a lot of people here yet, so we can start out. There are 3 ways to fly as a private pilot. You could do something insane like buy your own airplane. I did that. When I was learning to fly, I bought a plane because it was the .com days and we had more money than we should have. So we went up and bought an airplane. The much more traditional way is when you want to fly, you go to the flight school. There are also aircraft rental places and you rent it out by the hour. And then there's the in-between where you buy it along with a group of other people, investors. They call them fractional ownership and things like that, partners. And so there's this great story about a gent who bought into a partnership and worked out of a small airport that was large enough to have a control tower. And by great fun, the controller, one of the controllers who works there, was also a partner in this same aircraft. So they haven't met each other yet. That happens sometime. And so the guy jumps in this plane one day for a flight and he buzzes off, and the controller calls him up and said, hey, if you don't have any place specific to go, can you hang around the airport area? I'll give you a place to go play with. We've got some new equipment here and I'd like to do some testing with you. The guy says, sure, I'm just out joy flying. So he goes over there and he says, okay, what I want you to do, please, is to take your microphone and point the speaking element at the panel of your aircraft. Because what we have is kind of a sonic thing where we can pick up the sonic waves coming from whatever it's pointed at. And the guy says, sure, okay, you getting anything? And he says, yeah, I am. And he begins to accurately describe everything on the panel, the make and model of the radios in there, and that clock seems to say such and such. And the pilot was just utterly amazed. And he said, well, let's try something else. We can see here, and what can you see here? And he's describing all the things of the plane, and pointed at his face, and the guy had a description of him. And it begins to dawn on the pilot that there's just no way this is legit. And so he says, wait a minute, I got one more test. I'm holding my hand up. Can you see which finger is up? So they obviously got along very well after that, but a fun old story in the aviation biz. Great pies of fire, Andre. Happy Halloween weekend, says Sling Buzz. Nice to see you back as ever and always. You shake my drive and you rattle my fans. Yeah, somebody backed me up on Discord. About the gent with the pizza box router. His question has a simple answer, but in order to provide it, we need to know the make and model of his router. And I don't want to get involved in all the minutia of having to describe everything that he needs to do to get into that router for the first time. Now, the one thing that we have no idea what the IP address of that thing is. There's a good chance that it still has the IP address with the network address from the network from which it was resigned. And so if he set up a connection between his host and the router, either direct connect with a crossover cable or a switch between them, and then he sets an IP address on his host that has the same network address as the presumptive network address in the router, then he could do an nmap or an angry IP scan or advanced IP scan, scan the range of whatever it is. Now, if it's 10 dot, then forget it. You're going to be there for months. But if it's a 192, 168 or some other class C, then that would be pretty easy to get into. If not, the only way to get into it is to go in as a non-logged in entity, which is doable, get into the administrative stuff using, it can be done. I've done it. I had 35 routers and switches that I bought at an auction, some for the company and some that we dumped off. And it took me a couple of days to figure out how to get into that first one. But after that, I was able to go in and reset all the IP addresses so that they were unique. And when we got rid of them, we could tell the new owners what the IP address is. So the guy who's got the pizza box router over there, it's possible, but we need to know more information about his router. Patricia Grace, yes, I am feeling dressy. It's a put together. I didn't have anything particular in mind. I wore short sleeves. In fact, I even wore a pilot white shirt. I didn't want to put long sleeves on, and I don't have any short sleeve white shirts, whatever. So the missus came in. I said, what do you think? She said, you look like a magician. Well, that wasn't what I was going for, but she's right. So, okay, who can I disagree with? Abu Bakr Al-Haj, what a nice setup today. Thank you. I have been working my butt off on a work project that didn't get done last night like it was supposed to. I didn't get much on it today. So the missus did all this. She did a wonderful, beautiful job. Clyde is over there, but I don't have room on my floor to put his base here. And so you can't see him very well. I guess you can see about half of his body. And we love Clyde. I love bringing him on the set. Maybe I'll, when I take down the Halloween stuff this weekend or next week, I'll give Clyde a starring position beside me for a couple of shows. I'm a pi one, a real pi one. Okay. Yes, Parrot Vader. Blue Lantern, happy Halloween to everyone. I think the official day is Monday. I don't understand why people don't, at least in neighborhoods or communities, say, look, Saturday, that's when we Halloween, not Monday night for the kids. Wireshark will find the right IP. I think we need to talk about that, right? It will get the right IP that makes it through your NIC and through the IP stack. But if it's the wrong network address, I don't know. We should talk about that. Thank you for the magic wand, Patricia. The missus did a great job on the background. She really did. It's awesome. I wish I had. It looks like it slants up to you. It does, and it's level, but my camera is angled about 30 degrees off center, so it gives everything in the distance a compressed look, a vanishing point, as they call that. Laser surgery, thank you. Harry Potter, close at retirement age. You people are nuts. Scott Yonan, wow, long time no see, mi amigo. Nice to see you back. What would you operate on a laser? Stop hanging around Tollywood. What do I tell you? So Tollywood, are you guys sweating bullets over there over rumbly? Is it Mauna Loa? It's not Kilauea. Whatever. You got a big cauldron up there bubbling and making noise. I was looking for Tollywood yesterday on the Discord channel, and he'd been silent all day, and I was kind of worried. His father's elderly, though I've never heard that he's in bad health, but you always got to worry about these things. And then we got rumblings of volcanoes. So late last night, I kicked him off a message, and to my great good fortune, he just happened to have gotten home after a day full of activity and wasn't online. So all is well with Tollywood. As you know, he's here. Yeah. I know, just vamping today, checking in, seeing who's here. I like it. Should I tell you this? Yeah, I will tell you this, but without the nitty gritty details. Got a call from Mike yesterday morning. You know that he was showing off some of his gear, and he decided after the show the other day that he would start his series. He wants to do a build series with all the new toys and goodies that he started, and he wants to do it as a recorded session. And setting up recording and everything over at his place is a challenging affair. It's not that big of a deal, but it's time consuming. I got to gather up all the gear and take it down there and then play director and all that. And he said, I don't want to do all that. I just, these YouTube sessions are automatically recorded, right? Sure they are. He said, well, set me up a YouTube session, a private one, and then I'll just, do a YouTube session myself. And then if there's any problems, we'll edit them after the fact. Okay, that's cool. Set him up a YouTube session. It's private. Nobody could see it except him and me. And I didn't watch it live. I was busy. So a couple hours after he got done recording it, I finally got a chance to go take a look at it and see if I needed to download it and edit it. And I fired it up and no audio. He did his marvelous hour presentation, and maybe not that long, of total redoisms. And it was really kind of interesting too, because he does this sometimes. We do this when we actually shoot. He'll be talking about a topic and then realize he wants to go deeper or he wants some more information on it. So he'll yell cut and then fire up the computer, do some research, and then, okay, count me into 3 and then back to head. And then he'll pick up right where he left off with additional material. So I watched him do that same kind of stuff, except of course, since there was no audio, it was just, so I know what's going to happen, and I'm going to get this video that's just full of that, and I'm going to have to edit the heck out of it. Tulawit, we need to talk on Discord sometime over the next 3-4 days. That thing that you sent me a while back for review, that is bearing some fruit. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. Pension age. Wave. That's what you get for living on Fire Mountain. It goes boom sometimes. I don't know why I'm doing Scottish Irish. SFC / Scan Kilauea with the somewhat Americanized spelling. Hawaiian Islands technically aren't islands. Stop. It ain't big enough to be a continent, and it's surrounded by water. They're islands. They're islands in the sun. The volcano is peaking above water. No. Do I want to? I'm not going to get into the semantics on that. I understand what you're saying on that, but no. Share that video on Discord for deleted. There were other things in there that said this may not exist. Maybe I'll have a copy of it, and on my deathbed I'll identify the URL where I saved it. But no, that would be bad. Hey, all right, well, how long have we been doing this nonsense? About 20 minutes, just a little too long. So let's see what's up in the schedule. It is Friday, October 28th. It's the last Friday of October. Halloween is 3 days hence on Monday, and I am David Rush. I'm the senior instructor at Total Seminars, and this is an Ask Me Anything. So the easiest, bestest way to do that is to post messages in the chat window. If you're not watching it live in real time, you can always get in contact with me at my work email, daver@totalsem.com, or at my personal email, drushtx, like Dave Rush, Texas, at Yahoo. I'm not going to put that stuff up right now. Everybody heard it and saw it, and it's easy to remember. Just play this part back. If you're keeping track, this is drama number 115. We're just buzzing right along, huh? And we get together every Friday at 2 o'clock on this very channel and talk about all things technical. Our bailiwick is CompTIA certifications, primarily IT fundamentals A plus, Net plus, Sec plus, good for just about anything else. If I don't know the answer, I'll demur, send you to somebody else, or we'll take it on as a project and I'll research it and have Mike answer Monday, or I'll answer the following week. We get together 3 times a week to do AMAs. Mike does an AMA on Monday, does an AMA again on Wednesday at 2 o'clock, 1-hour shows, and then my show on Friday for 2 hours. Because my show is a little different than Mike. We hang around, shoot the breeze, take questions, and do all kinds of goodies for the first hour. And then the second hour, we do a project, usually a Raspberry Pi based project, and usually it's associated with a CompTIA certification objective. Today, neither of those will be true. We're just doing a fun project because I found it and I liked it and said, oh man, we have got to do this. We got specials. We got specials available only to you and those people who watch the AMAs, and we call them our AMA specials. They will allow you to get 50% off of a bundle that you have to create. This is not a pre-created bundle on our website. Be cool if it was, but for some weird reasons, it's not possible. What are we looking for here? Q&A special deal. There we go. I can post that. And then we have to share because it's Halloween and Halloween is all about sharing, right? Maybe not. All right. So what you do is you go to totalsem.com and go to the merchant area and you pick an area that you would like to study. A plus, AWS Systems Architecture Associate, CISA plus, whatever the any of these 7 items. And then you pick 2 items from our inventory and put them in your basket. The ebook for that subject and the total tester practice test for that subject. Put them in your basket. And then when you check out this week, the code is crash, because this week in 1929 was the big stock market crash. And you will get 50% off of both of those items. It basically comes out to be 2 for 1. And, you know, it's already insanely cheap. So we're practically giving them away. It's good through this Sunday night, October 30th. Then Monday, we will start a whole new code, maybe a new deal, maybe the same deal. I never know. I guess as long as I got this stuff up, here's a page you can freeze on. I'll post all this stuff on the YouTube chat in just a second. So to communicate with me offline from the chat channel, daveR@totalsem.com, drushtx@yahoo.com. I'll put my LinkedIn. You can link with me or follow. I always have new messages and fun things going up. And if you want to catch me on Steam, I am drushtx. I got a web server up. It has notes from all of the shows that I do, all the labs and all the pictures and PDFs and whatever. And you can find your way there by going to PIRSquare, PIRSQUARE.zapto.org. It's up and running. I keep it running from Friday morning through late Sunday night, 24 hours a day, and then again on request. Send me an email, tell me when you need it up, and it will be up, or contact me on Discord. I'm always on Discord. Discord, do I have the Discord channel up here? No. All right, I'll post the Discord. That was the weekly specials. All right, that's all we need for that for now. Close that. All right, let's post all those links to all those fun places. It starts here. Okay, so I'll start with the PIRSquare server. Oh man, I didn't post my greeting. I was so swamped. All right, good. That means I can use it next week. All right, there's that. Now here's the Discord invitation. Discord, there is an unofficial Total Seminars Discord channel, not set up or owned or operated by anybody at Total Seminars. We are just participants. It was set up by most recently Siegfried Vanderwee, moderated by a lot of the people that turn up here. So huge, so diverse, so many topics. Just go there. Okay, I'm not going to describe it all to you. It'll take forever and always. But if you're looking for me, if I'm awake, my computer's on, and if my computer's on, it's logged in to the Discord channel. You can find and communicate with me anytime. All right, there's the specials of the day and the code crash. Here's my email addresses. And here's my LinkedIn profile And there's everything that I'm supposed to post for now. Sorry, getting geared up for the next phase. All right, good. Shrink you down. There's the deal. You got to go over there. That helps. Islands in the stream. Thank you, Kenny Rogers. We are what we are. Look, it'd be really fun to have a spelling contest, no references, and have people spell Hawaiian words and names. The only one anybody will ever get right most of the time is Maui. Curry ale special deal. I'm guessing I didn't hear that right. No, I'm not wearing my glasses. Join the Discord channel for the, okay, so we're going to get on Discord after the show today with cameras and mics. You don't have to have camera and mic, but we're having a costume party. No contest, no nothing. I'm just going to turn up in costume. I'll have a different costume, and we invite and encourage you to do the same. And just come on in. We'll have a, whatever, a free-for-all conversation. Any topic is fair game, but just a little fun. And especially if you're not going to a costume party and you've been holding that costume for 2 years with COVID because you haven't been able to go to a costume party, here's your chance to break that thing out. What are we doing here? We got anybody who turned up today? Yeah, a few people. All right, so let's talk a little bit about the show and do some normal stuff here. So what we usually do, as I said, is we just shoot the breeze for the first hour. I do news and tricks and traps and contests and whatever. And then in the second hour, we do a project. And I always try to describe to you in the first hour a little bit of useful information about that project. And it always starts out, remember, you don't always need a Raspberry Pi to do some of our projects. In fact, to do many of them. Today, that couldn't be more true. You cannot do today's project with a Raspberry Pi. Again, this is a project that I found. It's simple, it's cool. I thought, oh man, that'd be awesome on a Raspberry Pi, and dove into it and said, oh, it doesn't work on Raspberry Pi. It only works on x86 Intel and AMD platforms. But I think it's so cool, and so many of us have virtual machines running in our x86 platform machines that this will be a nice little addition and fun. So no Pi stuff today, just generic Linux stuff. Where we been? Last week, I was busier than I deserved to be, and so we didn't do a project. I just did open Q&A. I was supposed to push that project to this week, but again, because it's the Halloween show and because this is such a fun, cool, simple, easy project, I'm pushing that other one back yet another week so that we can do today. And the project today is called CPU-X. You've heard of CPU-Z. Many of you probably use it. It's a great troubleshooting tool, diagnostic tool, and informational tool for PCs. And there's also a CPU-Z available for Android now, not for Mac. Before you start asking, there's your answer. And not for Linux. CPU-Z is not available for Linux. They're not working in that direction. So the Xorg people who do graphical interfaces and desktops and things like that for all kinds of Linux flavors have created CPU-X. It's not a perfect copy, doesn't do everything. On the other hand, it does some more things. So I'm going to show you how to install it, and we'll tour it. It's a lot of fun. Remember, if I do any of this lab stuff later too fast, all you got to do is go to pirsquare.zapto.org, go to the downloads section, and download the zip file from today. It's got all my notes and all my graphics and PDFs and everything else that I use on there. This is really simple stuff. So you don't need notes. You don't need anything for today. Having a challenge. All right, I'll deal with them. Let's do news, tricks, and techniques of the week while your questions queue up and pile up. Linus Torvalds, the inventor, developer, and maintainer of the Linux kernel, right? Remember Linus's job? He was frustrated many years ago at the incredible expense of the two major Unix variants out there. And so he said, I'm going to make my own version of Unix, which later got renamed as Linux. He didn't name it Linux. And it has turned into, the bazillions of forks. I said that very carefully, Andre. It's with an R. Of distros and wow. So he still writes the core and he makes changes, notable changes every year. Well, 3 days ago, something like that, he made an announcement. He said, it's time to drop support for the Intel 486 CPU in the kernel. For some people, it's been gone for decades. And for other people, it was a hammer to the forehead. No, I kind of fall in that second camp because people come up with these garage sale, boot sale, flea market pieces of junk, useless computers all the time. What can I do with this thing? And the answer is maybe you can find a version of DOS or Windows 3.1 to put on there, but that's pretty much it. Oh, wait a minute. You can run Linux on there. There are zillions of variants of Linux that will run on there. Well, that's going to stop for 486 on back when he does this. It's not an if. He's announced that he's going to do it. So it looks like the next kernel release. Now, there was just a new kernel release that came out in the last 6 weeks or so. So we got a year, but it's going away. They're up. The total seminars, Mike Myers, Steve Nicholson, 220-1101 and 220-1102 video courses are up and enrolling on Udemy. And I mean within the first hour of the first one going up, enrollment was through the roof. And then the next one went up about 7 or 8 hours later, through the roof. And then somebody reported the numbers to me this morning and they are mind-boggling. So if you're ready to start that studying with our materials for 11.0x A+, they're there, they're ready to go. We've got the Udemy practice test up and running. I know it's like a commercial. It's not intended to be, just informational. So we have a very slimmed down version of Total Tester that's focused for 11.01 and another one focused for 11.02 as courseware, test, quiz. There's no official name for them. They call them courses, but they're practice tests. And again, they are very slimmed down. They each have 3 90-question tests in there. And this is kind of funny. People ask me this all the time on the support forums. After I take one of the practice tests, can I take it again? Yes, of course you can. And what's really cool about their platform is each time you take it, the question order gets scrambled and the order of the answer choices gets scrambled. So they're not going to look the same. They're not going to be in the same order. So that kind of helps you from not memorizing them at least too quickly. So what we always recommend is take test number 1 often and frequently and go back and research the answers. And when you finally have taken it so many times, you've got it memorized, now take test number 2 and do it again. Do more research, get all your understanding down, and keep doing that until you have all those questions memorized, and do it again then for the 3rd one. And then go back and just keep hitting them a few more times, keep them memorized. Now, that's not enough questions to cover everything. Now, if you're acing these first thing right off the bat, you're probably going to do pretty well on the exam. But if you're not, that means there's some more things that you need some basics on. We don't cover all the basics, all the foundations, all the depth and breadth of really functional foundational stuff in the course. For that, you may need some additional information. That's why Mike always says you need a good book, you need a good video, you need practice tests. So for more information, more depth, if you're missing questions, head for the book. And if you need more questions, then we've got Total Tester Online. How can I get Total Tester Online, Dave? 3 ways. There, 3. You can buy it, regular full price. It's not expensive. And it's the best stuff out there. You will not find anybody else who you got a question about a question, you contact the contact information there. You're going to get me or Mike or Michael Smyer or a couple of other subject matter experts who are going to help you understand that question or help us understand that, whoa, that's a wrong question. It's got a wrong answer. So regular buy it. Number 2, win today's contest. You get free 90-day access to any Total Tester Online practice test of your choice. And number 3, take advantage of our bundle. Pick up the practice test and the ebook. Remember, that's only the ebook bundle, which you can get collectively for 50% off this week using the code CRASH. New code on Monday. And I haven't picked it yet, so I don't know what it's going to be. All right. So Udemy courses are up. And of course, the thing to do is if you want, go and buy them at full retail, $139 or whatever they are. We get more revenue that way. But if not, there's always a sale going on at Udemy every few days where you can pick up courses anywhere from $10 to about $15. I think when ours went live, the first one, there was still a sale going on, and some of the first people got that at $14 or give or take whatever it is. So the DJ gig went great last Saturday. Ton of fun, great wedding. And always filled. If a wedding went perfectly the first time out, you should be divorced in 10 days. So there have to be problems that happen during the thing, because it gives you an opportunity to overcome and start working together as a couple, as a married couple, solving problems, right? Because life is full of challenges. So the first real notable challenge, I'm setting them over in the reception hall, and the wedding party, and everybody's over at the church. They're done with the wedding. The couple is married, and now they need to take some more pictures. And when I say more, this facility, the church and the thing, are both about an hour south of downtown Houston. The photographer went to a place about an hour north of downtown Houston. So things were a little delayed while the photographer worked their way back down and started getting pictures. But somehow problems were overcome, and it will be a long-lasting marriage, to be sure. All right, that's all I need to do that. There was an unanswered question from the preceding week, and I wrote it down and I researched it, and it wouldn't be on this page no matter what. If it exists, it would be on this page. No, it wouldn't be on this one. Video, travels, structured, focused, how to project to learn an OS. Okay, that's Mike's list of things that I want him to do. All right, wherever I wrote it down, it wasn't in this document. So be it. In a couple weeks, I'm going to run out of my greetings. Come for the chocolate chip cookies, stay for the grilled monkey brain. The one I'm doing right now is musical styles. In a couple weeks, I'm going to run out of those, and I've got my next one all set up. You must be an Uber nerd to get the new ones that I'm going to do. Sorry, I'm in doing that research, I knocked off a page. There we go. And I will need it in short order. All right, you shrink, you go back. How are we doing here? 39. Let's see if anybody else has arrived. It looks like they have. TD Washington is here. Saw your comment on LinkedIn. I agree with you. Minimum wage is not intended to be a living wage. All right, so there's my religion, politics, and whatever. That was reposted by the son of an old friend of mine, a neighbor who moved out of here not long ago. Nice young man. And as a young man, and young people tend to think in a young person's mindset. It all comes down to somebody should give me more money, should pay me more money for what I'm worth. Well, so this young man picked up a post by somebody who made some commentary on how awful minimum wage is and what it should be and why it should be. And I just, I'm triggerable. That's a hot button topic of mine. So I jumped in, and I hope I wasn't curmudgeonly, Patricia Grace. I was kind and thoughtful and offered a little bit of analysis and perspective from someone who may have been around the block just a little longer than those posters. And that was it. It got a little bit of buzz, not much. It wasn't worth much, but thanks. There are as many people who agreed with me. There are an equal number of people who disagreed. It's a hot button topic. So, but thank you, TD Washington. I did see that you responded and gave it a thumbs up. I appreciate that. I saw Werewolf drinking a pina colada at Trader Vic's. Okay, you spelled it right. No and. It was just a period. His hair was perfect. You know how, dang, I can't remember. There is a name for mishearing and misrepeating lyrics. I think it starts with an S. It's like some symbolastics or something. And we all have them. What's really popular one? Peter Gabriel. That's it. Everybody thinks the line, many people think the line is, "She's so funky, yeah." It's not. And I'll let you look it up. But that's a typical example of it. So I had this with Werewolves of London. I always thought his hair was purple. I was kind of envisioning, sort of the early goth days when that song came out. Nope, it was just perfect. Sure, let's go with Demento. Again, it's a put together. It has no meaning. It was an excuse to practice tying a tie. It's not a clip-on. It's real. The coolest way to wear a tie, though, a bow tie, is after the show, when you're hot and you're cleaning up and doing all that stuff, is to just let it dangle. Sure, I'll never get it. We'll do the old West dangle, turn it into a scarf, right? How did I get into that? Come here, get out of there. Jets, I'll fix this on the next commercial break, but we don't have commercial breaks on this show. That'd be so cool. Not for you, but look, there's a reason that radio DJs, especially like the talk show hosts who do a 3-hour or 4-hour stint, have commercials. It's not so they can sell soap or make money. It's because you need a potty break every now and again. There. All right. So that is, except for the little knot there, the way to wear these are called self-tie, by the way. If you go looking for a bow tie out there, they don't self-tie, but when the official name for these things is a self-tie bow tie. All right, now we're in business. Now it should stay out, right? Gonna go cool mode. Dr. Demento, man, what a great guy. What a boon he was to Weird Al, huh? You don't like pina coladas. Who doesn't like pina coladas? If you like pina coladas and getting caught in the rain, you want to do pina colada lines with me? I'm with you. Don't you go there going there? Hey, a question, a technical question. Thank you, Michael Lovell. Wow. Love you. Michael Lovell. I grew up in Northern Ohio, worked during a couple of summers with a gent named Tracy Lovell. Uh, and this organization has a reunion every couple of years, and we have been on the hunt for Tracy Lovell. There's not a chance in the world that you are related or know anything about him. But if you do, contact me. Tell me about Tracy Lovell from Northern Ohio. Anyways, what does an IP address? Oh God, there's a punchline coming to this. What is an IP address? Oh. Okay, I know that one. I will let somebody else guess that one. It's too easy. What's an IP address? Wear to a costume party. I'll give you a hint. It's a mask. That's a dad joke all day long. There you go. Andre nailed it right off the bat. It's okay. It has some mold on it. When I was a kid, somebody who was very, very funny to me and was probably a person after much of my personality was molded, gave me a line one time that has stuck with me forever. He said, if Adam ever returned to the earth, the only thing he would recognize are the jokes. There's no new ones. Yes, I don't do so much Mudge on LinkedIn. Mondegreen, thank you. It is a Mondegreen. That's when you mishear and misrepeat a part of a song. See, I told you I had an S in it. Kenny Clayton, Dave, I hang out on these live streams when I can, but I'm always working while listening. You probably said it before, but is that sweet or unsweet tea? It is sweet tea using a keto sweetener. I haven't had a carb except, on emergency or crisis maybe 3 times since COVID. It hasn't been that long. I've only been doing this for about a year. COVID, I just started eating better and losing weight. And so I thought I would accelerate it and picked a diet, and it's not a diet now. It's a lifestyle now. But unsweet. I'm sorry. It is sweet. It is sweetened with non-sugar and lemon. And it's sun tea. We had a couple of nice warm days this week. Excuse me while I kiss this guy. There you go, Alex. Kill for Oscar Sierra Romeo, outstanding from Kilowatt Charlie 8. I'm sorry, that was my novice call. No, sorry, my novice call. What was my novice call? Oh, yeah, I wasn't a KA. Oh, KA8 CVW, Kilowatt Alpha 8 Charlie Victor Whiskey. I am now Kilo Charlie 8 Quebec and KC Julia Quebec. Kings, Cards, H Jackson, Queens. Blinded by the Light. That is the name. Now you're confusing me. Okay. I know where you're going. I had to think about that lyric for a second and the whole history of the thing. Yes. Revved up like a deuce is the correct term. If you ever hear the Springsteen interview where somebody asks him, how come the Manfred Mann version is so much more popular than your version? He says, because I say revved up like a deuce. He actually says something a little cruder and repeats what everybody thinks the Manfred Mann version is. Outstanding example, TD Washington. Well done. And especially the fact that it was subtly slipped in there. You didn't hammer it in. Way to go. November 4th, Weird Al movie. I am excited. I have seen Weird Al live. Wow. What a show. It was probably 10 years ago, maybe not quite that long. Could not stop grinning for 2 hours. It was fantastic. Wow. Okay. So it's not a she, it's a he. So, but could very well be a 6th cousin of yours. But it's the male Tracy name. Now I look like Dino. If only I had a scotch. Now I have a story that I could tell, but this goes so many. Okay. about this guy. Y'all know him. Well, I have an opportunity for you to do that. By the way, today's thing is really short, so it's all good. We got plenty of time here. Blinding light beats blinded by the push pin. Y'all can be somewhat twisted. Hey, it's 10 till the next hour. I'm feeling like giving something away, and so I will. Dave, what are you going to give away? I'm glad you asked that question. Let's give away 90-day free access to the total seminars, total tester practice test of your choice. And I'm going to give some more information here because I always kind of diddle around this one. All the practice tests we have are single course, single exam focus. If you want SY0601, that's the practice test exam you're going to get. And AWS or CS0002. There is one of those that's different, however, and that's A+. If you win and you want A+, specify 220.11.01 or 220.11.02, but you're going to get them both. It's a bundled package, so the world's a happy place. When there were products that overlapped, we were giving away both. So back when N10007 and N10008 existed, you could request one and you would automatically get both, or at least automatically get upgraded to the new one. But there are no overlaps right now, so the world waits. All right, so we're going to give away one. We're going to do that in the form of you answer a contest question that I have selected from the full-blown Total Tester online product. It's either an 1101 or an 1102. When I bring this test up, I let it randomize, so I don't know if it's an 01 or an 02. I just don't know. I'm looking at them trying to guess, but I don't know the chapters, the objectives in order. So we'll do that. It's a fairly easy question. Test exams. Sorry, reading up here. All right, so here's the deal. I'm going to put up a question. It's going to have multiple choice. There's one right answer. The answers are numbers, single digit numbers. So you're going to get your chance to type in one of the 4 choice numbers in. No A, B's, C's, or D's. I don't want to see any letters in there or any explanations. You're going to type in one letter. You get one shot to get this right. And if you do, I will pick a winner, and I will pick them among the people who got the answer right, because a lot of people are going to get this one right. And if you've won frequently or recently, I want to give it to somebody who has not won frequently or recently, just so everybody gets a chance to be a winner. Now, there's not many people online. I may wind up giving it to somebody who's won 10 times, just because there's not that many people who have joined us live and online at the moment. Man, knock on wood, I haven't had to kill anybody yet. Another thermal paste line, Patricia Grace. Thank you very much. One of these days, I'm going to make the answer 443 just because so many people throw that one up. All right, that's enough background. When we get done, I will post up on a slide how to get your winnings and on the chat feed. All right, let me bring this thing up. The TTO 01 question. Yeah, it looks like it. And then we hit the share screen button. And here goes. Ready for the question? The question is multiple choice. Choose one answer from 220.11.0x. Type in the correct answer. Do not type in A, B, C, or D. The question, RAID 10, also called RAID 1+0, requires how many drives? You have 4 choices to pick from: 4, 6, 2, and 3. These aren't the only possible answers to that question, but of these, only one of them is correct. So let us see who's posting what as possible answers. Put your answer in the chat feed as I read through. Sorry, I'm reading silently here. Thermal paste, use old expired credit card. You know what? You can use regular credit cards. They don't have to be expired. They'll wipe off pretty easily. Yeah, Jeff Bezos has lost a little money. But fortunately, Kanye is going to help him out. More than one. You can be such a jerk. All right, making notes because I do that kind of thing. K4 OSR. That's a OSR. That's a good call sign. I'm not sure what I would make it stand for, but that it would be optical to be sure. Thank you for the Peter Schilling reference. I could do this all day, man. I would not call my knowledge of music encyclopedic. However, it's Funkin' Wagnalls. Does anybody remember besides me and possibly Tullowit Funkin' Wagnalls? While you're posting answers, because I don't have many up there, I see 4 legitimate attempts at answer 3. And if you see an answer up there that you think is right, don't assume that I'm going to give it to one of those people. You could have one waiting. Yeah, it was an encyclopedia. What it was is 26 volumes or so, maybe a couple of them were combined. And they were kind of designed for young people, grade school through middle school. Maybe they were only each volume about that thick. So the whole Funkin' Wagnalls encyclopedia took up about this much space on a bookshelf. And it had pictures and colorful pictures, and you didn't have to buy the whole set. You could buy one. When I need a cue this week, I'm looking up qualifications or quality or quail. Yeah, quail. That's what I'm looking for. We had Funkin' Wagnalls, as I recall, in my youth, somewhere from age 6 through 10. And then we went to school that had actual encyclopedias, and those things kind of went down the tubes. I'll bet if you look in some of the weird sites, the eBay sites and similar secondhand sites, you could probably find Funkin' Wagnalls collections. It used to be a standard Johnny Carson joke, as a risque sounding punchline. Put that in your Funkin' Wagnalls or something like that. All right, are we done? We got our big 3 guesses here, and off we go. Okay, well, it is what it is, so I'm going to pick a winner here. The answer is 4. Let me do something from this list. Stand by, and that is okay. Here, let's bring the answer page up because I want to talk about this for just a momento. The correct answer is 4. RAID 10 is a stripe of mirrors. Now, RAID 10 and RAID 01 are called a stripe of mirrors and a mirror of stripes. And it's hard to remember. I never remember. So I thought when I studied this one, I would actually take a moment and learn which is which and a way to remember it. So here we go. A stripe of mirrors. RAID 10 means you start with you finish with, you're going to create a stripe. You're going to create a stripe out of a RAID 0 set. So a RAID 0 is the mirrored pairs. I'm on dope here. Start with 2 sets of mirrored pairs. That's right. The information here is correct. Then stripe them. So this is what you begin with. You always start with 2 sets of 2 drives. You're either going to stripe them and stripe them, or mirror them and mirror them. So RAID 1, you start with a pair of mirrored sets, and then you stripe them. So this becomes disk 1, and this becomes disk 2, and now they are striped, and so they ultimately become disk 1. So a stripe of mirrors, the word sucks, but it's not a mirror of stripes. It's, you start with the mirrors, RAID 1. Once you make your mirrors sets, then you stripe them together. So a RAID 01 is you create a couple of stripes These two are striped together. These two are striped together. And now you mirror them. And there you go. So our winner today is Kenny Clayton. Congratulations, Kenny Clayton. What you're going to do is you're going to send an email to me. I posted this in the chat feed. Just copy and paste that so that you can get it nailed the first time. In the body of the, you're going to send it to me at davar@totalsem.com. And in the body of the email, you must put 4 pieces of information. Don't say it's in the header or things. It's the same as my YouTube name. I need 4 values in the email because that's what the people that I'm going to forward it to need. And they won't have your email header or any of that good stuff. So give me your YouTube name, Kenny Clayton, your real name. If it's the same thing, type in Kenny Clayton. The email address where you want us to send your access information to, you'll get that early next week. And which practice test. I don't want the name of it. I need the number. So if it's going to be A+ 22011OX, if it's going to be Network Plus N10-008, or any of the other exotic ones. We have all of them are listed over at totalsem.com. Go check them out. Please get that to me tonight. I need to have that off my plate by end of day tonight. That helps everybody out. Appreciate that. And congratulations, Kenny. The big winner for today. Is there anything else on this page that I need? Not really. All right, let's do a couple more. We're going to repost all of the links and useful information. This will be the last time I do that today. And then we're going to get on today's project, which is fun and easy. Okay, so just posted the access to my archive server. That's my notes server. Good Lord. Everybody starts firing up back channel communications while I'm doing the show. Nothing goes on almost all day long. And then, hey, Dave's on the show. Let's make sure we start blinking and blopping at him. All right, got the Discord server address. We have the special address, where to get it. Code is crash. And oftentimes people ask me, where does this week's code come from? So I'll post that explanation. That seems kind of fun. How about some email addresses for Dave? Because it's important to refer to oneself in the third party, yeah? And my LinkedIn profile. And that is everything that needs reposting for today. Good. All right, see if there's any questions that I missed, and then we'll start project pretty much right on schedule. Are you serious, Owen? Microsoft owns Funkin' Wagnall. I'm horrified. I am truly horrified. Hey, there was one last bit of news that I wanted to share with you. This is like personal. Maybe I shouldn't share this, but tough bananas. We had a windstorm here a few days ago. A lot of stuff got blown around and most of it we picked up. But I took my lunch break to take care of some stuff in the backyard. I've got a trailer that's covered with these gigantic tarps that can handle most things, but this wind was so big, it blew all the tarps off. So we pulled them out, stretched them out in the sun for a day or two, let them get dried out. And then I went out and started putting them back on the trailer. And at some point, they're heavy, they're big, they're monstrous. But at some point I looked down at my arm and there was a ball on my arm, black, spherical, and about the size of a basketball. And I flicked it off and I just started gushing blood. And I realized at that moment it was a tick. And so I run in the house and start alcoholing and putting topical antibiotics on it. If you get Lyme disease, you get Lyme disease, and there's nothing that can be done right now. There's no shot in advance that you can take for it. There's no vaccine or inoculation. All you can do is cross your fingers and hope you don't get it. Well, I got relatives that are docs, so I got on the horn with them later. First of all, I went online and looked up the gestation period and the symptoms and all that, and gestation period before the first symptoms runs anywhere from 48 to 72 hours. So I'm right at 48 hours now. Nothing obvious. But I called a couple of my doc relatives and said, hey, what do you know? And what do I need? And is there anything I can do? And they said, look, bottom line is, like I said, if you got it, you got it. There's nothing to do about it now, but there's a way to figure out your likelihood of getting it. CDC, Center for Disease Control in the US, publishes every location that a diagnosis of Lyme disease has occurred. And it turns out in my county, there hasn't been a diagnosis of almost any in the last 3 years. 3 years ago, there was like 19 in this population of 6 million. And while I do have a fairly good wooded area behind my house, it's not the woods. So I'm operating on the principle that I probably don't have Lyme disease. I'm certainly feeling good. But wow, that was terrifying for the first few minutes. The Lyme disease isn't fatal, but it does just cause really achy joints for the rest of your natural life. So it's not something I'm looking forward to having. And it doesn't look like I've got to. So I'm a happy guy. All right. It killed time. I needed a couple. So this week's project, we are going to install and tour a knockoff, a Linux kind of clone of CPU-Z. There's no tutorial for this thing. I got the idea from an article, so I will post that article right now because it has one piece of information in there that I'm not going to present in here. Just posted the link. It has, I should have put a title with that one. Let's make it CPU-X information article, info article. And then let us get rid of the one that has no useful information. Gone. Okay. And so I read that, and that's what kind of motivated me to pursue this thing. And of course, the first thing I did was run down is, can you do this on a Raspberry Pi? No. So we're going to do CPU-X, a CPU-Z kind of knockoff for Linux. So as I said at the beginning of the show, if you weren't here, CPU-Z exists for 2 platforms. It has existed and continues to exist for PC, for Windows platforms. It'll run on Windows running on Intel x86 and on on AMD CPUs. It doesn't run on Mac, even though I have Intel CPUs, because it needs Windows. They also made a version about a year and a half ago for Android. That's it's different, right? Because there's so much different information in an Android than on a Windows machine, but it's a really, really, really cool utility. I love it. I reference it not frequently, but regularly. There is no product like CPU-Z for Macintosh. Okay, people ask that all the time. The Apple folks have locked down the APIs that allow you to get to the cool information that CPU-Z gets to. And CPU-Z has not been developed and does not appear to be in development for Linux platforms. So these folks, the Xorg folks, the folks who make graphical desktops for Linux distros, have decided to create, I don't think we can call it a clone, but it's certainly a high similarity knockoff. Doesn't have as much information, doesn't have as much power as real CPU-Z. It's not polished yet. It's pretty good, but there's clearly room for improvement. But it's still cool enough that I thought I would show you it. And it does a few things that you can't do with real CPU-Z. For instance, you can install and run it from the command line. It's very unpolished when you run it from the command line. I'll show it to you in a moment. You can run it from the GUI, of course, and it's pretty polished. It's nice. So what do you need? You need an x86 platform running any flavor of Linux. Oh, the thing that it's on that article that I'm not covering in here, I'm going to tell you 2 ways to install it on Linux, maybe 3, but 2 of them are distro specific. So if you're doing Debian-based distros, you're going to install it this way. If you're doing Red Hat-based distros, you're going to install it that way. The article that I posted shows you the half a dozen other major distros and the command to install them. It's no big deal. We're basically changing words, one word on each of the different platforms. But and okay, so it's a good little article. It's got some good info. So CPU-Z, it's an early effort to mimic the look and feel of CPU-Z for Windows. It is free and open source, so you can have it without paying for it and not feel guilty. You should feel guilty. Any of this free stuff, you know, cough in a couple of bucks, $5, $10 every now and again for some useful software that's free, because that helps these folks develop more and better and improve it. It is maintained by the Xorg folks. It's not complete. It's not as thorough as CPU-Z. It's a work in progress, but it's still cool and only runs on x86 platforms at this point. No ARM-based system, so can't run it on Pi. All right, so let's just break into this thing. We'll start with the command line method. I'll fire up a copy of Putty here. Putty, which machine are we doing this on? Oh, the Ubuntu box. NUC 10i7fnh.local. I know you can't see it yet. You will. Did I typo that? Did I hit escape? Unable to open connection to, oh, yeah, I typoed it. Try that again. Putty. My account, drushtx, USHTX at NUC 10i7fnh.local. There we go. Password, Raspberry, and we're in. Now let's share. So I've installed and uninstalled this a bunch of times this week. To do either. So there are two ways to install it from the command line. I'm sorry, to install it on a Linux box. One is from the command line, the way I'm about to do. The other is if you have a package manager like Synoptic, you can find it in Synoptic and install it. If it's not in your distro's repository, then you can get it from their GitHub. And I would I'm not putting up the links for any of that. Just put in CPU-X GitHub or install source or something like that, and you'll find their GitHub. It's got installation instructions for all distros. So I'm using, this is Ubuntu. So I will use sudo apt. You could use apt-get. Apt-get is gone from the objectives in the 22011OX series. So, and we're only using apt. So we don't need to talk about apt-get anymore. There's a time and a place for it. Install CPU. You know what? Just for fun, before we do that, because I got a little time here, apt cache search. This looks in the repository of all the stuff. And let's just look for everything that starts, packages that start with CPU dash or have CPU dash in them. If you look up CPU, you get about 50,000 hits. There's CPU dash checker. There's CPU dash X, tool that gathers information. So it's in our repository. That's what you probably want to do before you do anything. And then, of course, before you do any install on any Linux system, you should do a sudo apt update. When that's done, do a sudo apt upgrade or do it all on the same command line. And I like to feed mine with the yes, so it doesn't stop and prompt me for the yes, no. I'm not going to do this now because it's going to take a little time, and I've already done this about 3 times this week. If you're current, it won't take you very long. If it's been a while since you've run those, then it's going to take a little while. Okay, so my repository is current. I'm all updated, I'm upgraded. So now let's install it. Sudo apt in with a T. CPU-X. Buzz, buzz, buzz. Give me your password. Raspberry. And it's done. It's all installed. So you can run it from the command line. let's do, all you got to do is type in CPU X, and it's a little ugly. It's a little messy. So I'm going to queue, first of all, to show you the errors that happen. These errors are weird because when you run the graphical version of it, we don't get the same error. It says, hey, look, I don't have any valid information about your display environment. Well, yeah, you're the CLI version. There is no valid information. It's just text. And I didn't get any CPU voltage. My CPU socket isn't in the present database, except it is because it's there when we run the GUI version of this. And there's also some additional missing information about RAM. So let's fire it up again. So he's just doing his little text thing here. Here's the categories that if it were mouse enabled, you could click on. So we start over here with your CPU information. It's a Comet Lake CPU. I got a Core i7 in here. And he's completely cognizant of what's going on with that. He knows all the instruction sets from it. All this is in the database. So even though he said it's not in the database, he's doing just fine. Now I got to use my arrow key to go over to see information on cache memory. I need a clean screen on here. If I use a different character set, these cues would be nice lines. It'd be a little bit cleaner. But I've got 6 32-bit level 1 caches, and there's 6 level 2 caches. 12 megabytes of level 3 cache. Here's info on my motherboard. It's an Intel NUC, next unit of computing. 10th generation i7, FNB is the motherboard details. I'm not going to go all through all this junk because I got it much better on the graphical version. So here's the problem with this version. It doesn't understand anything about my memory when you run the command line version of this. Go over to system. I'm running Linux with a kernel 5.1, 5.0, blah, blah, blah. Some basic information about my graphics system. Over here, there is benchmarking information, but you can't run the benchmark utility on here. This is something that CPU X can do that CPU Z cannot do. There are 2 benchmark programs built into this thing, which are really cool. Then you can run that, and then you can make changes and run them again and run the benchmarks again and compare what the changes have done for you. So add more RAM, take some away, turn on turbo boost, whatever the case may be. Look at it. They even tell you it's free software, gathers information on the CPU. 2 ways to get out of this program, either Q for quit or Control C. You can also type in the letter H for help to learn that you can use up and down keys and left and right arrows and how to get to the cache tabs easily and so forth. Q to get out of that, Q to get out of this. Hey, we're all done here. Now what I want to do, let's come back to head, is show you the graphical version of this. Much prettier, much more CPU-Z-like. So let me tell you the challenge that we're going to run into. I'm running Ubuntu Workstation. Ubuntu Workstation is very unfriendly when it comes to adding a VNC server. It has its own kind of sort of built-in one, and that's the one I'm using. It works with Microsoft's RDP client. It works with most VNC clients, but it's amazingly slow. I have a live screen running up here that you can't see, and so things I'm going to see will happen much quicker on there, but I do it just to confirm that everything is functioning. So let me fire up the share, the VNC program here. See viewer 64, there it is. So some things that we're going to press will take a moment or two for them to come up. Raspberry. And then we share. Okay, that's enough to do that. Now I can share. All right, so here's my Ubuntu VNC connection. There's a couple ways we can run CPUX. You could pre-create a shortcut. Now I clicked this apps button down in the lower left when I started this sentence. It's up on my real-time screen. Some hours from now, it should turn up on here. Goodness gracious. There we go. We finally got it. So then we click in this box here, and eventually I'll be able to type in that box. Once the program comes up, the program runs in good speed. How we did on time? We're only 20 after. Okay. CPU. As soon as I started typing it, it popped up. So there's CPUX. And boom, she pops right up. Huzzah. So here's the same category tops. Looks a lot more like CPU's Z for Windows. It's categorized, it's laid out the same. I get all my cache information here in a much cleaner format on the CPU page. Really kind of useful. I can select all my different cores here. This thing has 12 cores in it. So is this core busier than that core? Is this core busier than that one? Nice, huh? Some systems have more than one CPU socket, server systems. So if there were more than one here, we could do that. 6 cores, 12 threads. So these core numbers are actually threads. Core 0 and 1 are both are threads for core 0. Core 2 or 3 are threads, the 2 threads for core 1. All right, everything on that. It doesn't pick up the voltage on this version yet. That was one of the warning messages that we got when we launched this from command line. Over to caches, a little more detail on the caches. So we got basic information here about caches. We get more detailed information here. Look at that, running 12,900 megabytes per second. Oh, because I got 64 gigs of RAM in here. And we'll get over to that. All right, it's waiting to catch up. It's live on my my real monitor, so give it a moment. There we go. So some basic information about the motherboard, BIOS information. That's pretty useful in case I want to go and get an updated BIOS for this. This thing hasn't been updated since 2020. I will bet there's a new BIOS. I've been staring at this all week and was thinking about upgrading it, but everything was working. You know how that goes. You don't want to mess with something that ain't broke. System is operating system and how it's using memory. So I'm running Ubuntu Linux. There's the name of the host, how long it's been up and running since the last reboot, and some memory statistics information. Information about my graphics, not much that I can change here. If you have more than one graphics card installed, you could use this pull down menu. So here's my benchmark markers. There is a prime number calculation system that's strong and detailed and takes a long time. And then there's an abbreviated version. So you could start one and then it would specify how many threads you want involved, how long you want it to run for, and then the results would be posted here when it's done. I'm not going to run the benchmarks right now. This last page, when it finally updates, is the About page. And it's almost the last page. There's 2 more cool things to show you. Yeah, come on. You know you want to. There we go. So here's my About. Free software gathers information about license version information 4.20 and how long ago it's been since it was copyrighted. So they may be doing some more work on this thing. Now, I'm not going to do this right now, but this one's kind of cool. Start daemon means I can run this from boot. The screen won't always be up, but it's constantly gathering information and running real time. So when you launch it, it's not running core code. It's just a display thing, and the core code is running as a background task. So that's kind of cool. And this little wrench doesn't provide you much information unless you do it as a background, but sometimes. So I can set the refresh rate on per seconds from 1 second up to however many makes me happy. Only refresh every 10 seconds or whatever the case may be. If you set your theme in auto mode when it's nighttime hours, local time, it will change this to dark theme and vice versa. So that's all changeable whether you're running daemon mode or manual mode as we're running now. Startup. There we go. Allows me to modify my default tab, which one it automatically opens up to, which default CPU core it opens up to. You get the idea. You can hunt through this. If you had multiple graphics cards, which graphics card it would default to, and the kind of default cache test that you wanted to select from. So I don't think any of that is informational, is available in CPU-Z. If it is, it's not in any place that I've ever played with it. CPU-Z tends to be show me. I can do CPU ID values in decimal instead of hexadecimal. And I can say, when you start this thing, start and connect to the daemon process. So cool stuff, huh? CPU-X runs on tons and tons of Linux distros. You sudo apt install if you're running Linux, Debian distros. You do sudo yum install or sudo dnf install. If you are running on Red Hat distros, you get the idea. All right, let me unshare this. Come back to head. Close my VNC service. So CPU-X, it's a useful tool for gathering information about hardware that's installed in your Linux system. Great for troubleshooting, great for information gathering. Its downsides, not as many features as real CPU-Z. It needs polish. The upsides, it works on the command line or the graphical user interface. It's got lots of good information, built-in benchmarking, very quick to install, can be run manually or as a daemon. So install CPU-X on your system. Give it a test drive. Doesn't take a lot of space, doesn't take a lot of RAM. The GUI interface is clean, it's thorough, it's stable, and I think we can expect continued improvements and growth over time. That endeth the lesson on that. So we're coming up on the half an hour. We've got another half an hour to go. We'll take questions until they wind up, and when questions and comments are done, we'll shut down, and then shortly after shutdown, I will head over to the Discord channel. Excuse me. And we'll do a little costume get together. Let's see what happened in my absence to glad I wasn't paying much attention to the chat channel. We've had a spate of Russian spam bots attack in the last few episodes, but we were clean today. Pleased to see. All right, Andre, don't worry about it, Dave. Chances of getting it with a tick bite aren't that big. Oh man, maybe in my area, but as I look at the U.S. national map, from the upper Midwest up through Maine, it's a paintbrush. Apparently, if you walk in that community and you say the word tick, you're going to get Lyme disease. Just get your will updated. Make arrangements and enjoy the show. Is the CPU Z if you like? Sure. We're going to do Z disease. And Jay's is Jed's, huh? The one thing Dave is talking about now is called X, like ex-wife. Why do I read your stuff out loud? Maven Feliciano, long time no see, amigo. How you been? I think I saw you post on one of the forums I hang in not too long ago about uh, a cert that you achieved. Maybe I'm mistaken. There's a lot of people with familiar names that I don't see frequently, but in any case, great to see you, amigo. Having 6 cores has always seemed wrong to me. I prefer my cores to be based on binary multi. I'm with you. 6 cores is unusual. And then again, the first bulldozer that came out of AMD had 18. So is what it is. 36 threads. Reading here, undeleted. All right, Patricia Grace off to family birthday party. Happy birthday to your family member. Have fun at the costume party. Get some screen grabs. Tell her what you're in charge of screen grabs. I'm terrible at them. All right, well, that's it for questiones. If you got any more, now's the time to post. Otherwise, we're going to make it a short day, and I will get ahead on my closing stuff here. So what's coming up in La Future? Still got the one that I keep pushing back, the using Ansible to do a provision. I think I've got breathing room. I have 2 projects to complete this weekend. One of them takes 4 hours. The other one is going to take a day. And after that, I should have some time to write up the labs. The labs are conducted and tested, and they work great, but I just haven't written them up for presentation as a project. Big deal, Dave. You could just do that extemporaneously and off the cuff. You're right, I could, but I got to create documentation that people can download, because people do. I get a fair amount of activity on my servers, people downloading all of the stuff off of pirsquare.zapto.org, PIR square.zapto.org. That's what HTML needs. That's what DNS needs. It needs additional characters in URLs, like shapes. Boy, that opened up a huge can, huh? So we still got astrophotography coming up. I did some the other night. Man, clear skies, dark skies here, which means we're not going to get to it for a month because I'm going to be too busy for a couple of weeks, and then the moon will be full again. That's done. We've got Let's Encrypt certificate for our Apache server. I got a new server set up. That's gonna be fun. I've thought about that show a lot. I'm gonna do a full show. It's if I can squeeze it all into one, we will do one show that creates a server. That's really easy. That takes a couple seconds, and then registers it with a distributed DNS service. That may or may not go quickly, and if it does, if it goes slowly, then that will be one show, and then the next show will be making it secure, adding a certificate to it. If the installation goes quickly to add it to DDNS, then I'll do that all as one show. We'll see how it all goes. I suspect it's a 2-parter. Monday show for Mike, it'll be a normal show. And then back again on Wednesday, Steve Nicholson will be here. Mike and Steve that day are going to talk about the scope of Active Directory as it's found in the 11.0x exams. So they remember the 11.0x exams have added a great new focus. They have greatly focused on a new concept for that certification, and that is enterprise grade installation. So part of that is Windows Server, and more specifically Active Directory. So there's a lot of Active Directory stuff in the study materials, that because there's a lot of Active Directory stuff that's getting pounded on the exams. So Steve wanted to talk to you about that. After this, this will open the gates for Steve to be the takeover guy when Mike's not available, at least on Wednesdays. Steve's schedule is a little busy on Monday, and he can't reliably make Monday shows all the time. But if Mike is out on Wednesday, I'm going to throw the invitation out to Steve first. If he's not available, then I'll pick it up, or we'll kill the show or do whatever. but expect to see some more of Steve. As you know, Mike's life is busy, 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 much more so than he ever anticipated he would wind up doing with this merger. And so he has to miss a little more shows than ever expected. I did 4 shows in a row over the preceding week, and I know you got really tired of me. You got to see some difference, right? At least 2 Mikes and a Dave. Okay, you want to see 3 Mikes in a row all the time. I know. Me too. But anyway, Steve will be, Mike will do his regular show on Monday. Steve will join him on Wednesday to talk about Active Directory. We got Doug Jones coming up in November, engineer who works on the International Space Station network. Let's see. I need to talk with him. We had a date in mind, and now there's a SpaceX a launch that he's supporting for that one. So that date is in flux. But the plan was somewhere nearer to Thanksgiving in the U.S. That's the last Thursday of November or so. And if it doesn't happen then it'll be in December. But I'm excited. All right. Anything else that we can do here? But so yeah, back to Super Omar's here. Thank you, Toloit. All right, Super Omar 64. Love that stuff. How are you doing? I am doing well. Thank you very much. And you, hope you are doing well. Maven certification, no. Okay. Haven't studied anything much PC for about a year now, working in other field and other things. So I'm draining my brain. What did Maven Feliciano do? You weren't healthcare. Healthcare comes to mind for you. I'm, again, thousands of faces cross my plate every day, every week anyways. Hard to keep track of everybody that I'm not talking to regularly, but never too late to get back into IT. Darn right. Norvik Bogosian. Norvik, welcome. A total new face and new name. Welcome to the show. Glad to see you here. My question is about the last updated 1101. When can we have classes as another classes? I have email for only online. All right, I'm trying to parse that out. I'm not sure that I fully grok your question here, but here's what I will tell you. 2 days ago, the Mike Myers Total Seminars Udemy online courses went online, ready for enrollment. 220-1101 is a course taught by Mike and Steve, and 220-1102 is a course. They are both available on Udemy. All you got to do is search for Total Seminars 220-1101 and 220-1102, and that will nail them down for you right away. Now, that having been said, nice guy that I am, there it is. I have the links, and I will post them here right now. Well, in veritable seconds. Where's that? It's over in general on this page. Nice and slow activity going here. All right, this is not the forum for that discussion, people. Handles. I posted this, so it should be easy to find because everything's under my name. Are we in general? Yeah. There we go. Okay. That's one. Okay, I see how to do it. All right, so posting 2 links now. This is Udemy, Total Sem 220-1101 course. There's the link for that. And the link for the 1102 course is identical, except it ends in, not surprisingly, 1102. This first one ends in 1101. Oh, aren't you just sneaky and ugly? And I have to go do ugliness. Hang on. 2 course, dump this, go over here, copy this again, fix it. Sorry. But we have time. It's early. And I'm not going to vamp to kill the time. When we're done here today. All right, so there's the two links for the Udemy 1100 series courses. Also, you can look for our practice tests for 1101 and 1102. They're on there. So I hope that answers your question. If it doesn't, either catch me on Discord or send me an email. I'll post my email here, Dave's email, daveR@totalsem.com or drushtx@yahoo.com. Send me an email and I'll try to understand better what you're asking here. But there are classes for 11OX. The 10OX classes remain enrollable. Why? The exam is retired. No, it's not. Only the English version is retired. It's going to be up for a couple more months for non-English versions. So oftentimes people will study in our English courses, or there's a lot of different language subtitles that Udemy has put up on our old courses so they can study them with subtitles and then take them in the other languages that are still available. Not a lot of them. Japanese is one. I'm not sure what some of the other ones are, but we do keep them up as long as the international languages are available. Only 13 pounds, euros. Okay, sorry. Usually when there's a comma, we expect 3 characters after it. We put decimal points for fractions of dollars, pounds, and euros. Oh, wow. Is there a sale right now? Are our courses 13 euros? That's wonderful. 2 months to learn Swahili. Yep. All right. Well, let's wind this thing up then. I got 42 minutes after the hour. Yeah, I know I don't have a euro symbol on my keyboard. Imagine that. Hey guys, happy last day of October. As far as drama goes, we'll see you again on Monday, actual Halloween day on Mike's show. I will try to convince him to wear a jolly chapeau of some kind. We'll see. If I had our old friend here, he and I would go full costume and something that matched. He'd probably do Han Solo and I would do a Wookiee, but it's not the way it goes. I talked with him yesterday. He has been very, 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 very busy redoing his house, painting and restructuring. And I said, well, where did you find time to set up your Halloween display? And over the phone, I heard him lower his head in sadness and say he didn't set up a Halloween and it doesn't look like he's gonna. It's gonna be the first time in decades that he didn't set up. I set up a cruddy one in my yard. Maybe I'll share that with you, but nothing at his place. There's no reason not to name him, but you know, let's let sleeping dogs lie until they're all done with whatever it is they're doing. You're already in your costume. It's probably a Hawaiian shirt. I'm going as Magnum PI with a beard. Hey, thank you, Abu Bakr. Thank you, everybody, for turning up. Enjoyed it as ever and always. I will be on Discord channel, let's say on the hour in about 17 minutes, something like that. That'll give me time to do my shutdown activities and cleanups and all the things that I need to do here. I'll leave the set up for a few days. So as ever and always, my thanks to Mike Myers, everybody at Total Seminars, and National Cyber Group, who so generously provide us with resources and time for us to get together here every week. My most heartfelt thanks go to you and everyone who comes here to participate. This has been Dave Rush. I'm the senior instructor at Total Seminars and resident Pi specialist. Wishing you a great weekend. Take care of each other. Take serious steps to stay healthy. And if at all possible, call or visit your parents. And never forget, technology is great, but the greatest resource we have are you and I. And with that, I will see you on Discord in 15 minutes or so and at the AMAs next week. Until that time, I am out of here.